Okay, good evening. I am Lex Sisney. I want to express a lot of gratitude for you taking the time to come out tonight. Sincerely means more than you know, or could know. So tonight's talk is on organizational physics. Okay, and no matter who you are, I think you'll take away some key nuggets to apply to your work in your life. But the talk is specifically geared towards entrepreneurs and organizational leaders. Can I get a show of hands? How many of you would consider yourself an entrepreneur? You're leading a business, seeking to grow a business? Great. And how many of you would say you're in a leadership position in some capacity in an organization? Okay, awesome. And how many of you have problems that you'd like to resolve in your organization? See, that's a trick question. Everybody's hand should go up, right? Because we all have problems. And the very best that you're going to get out of me is that you're going to inherit a higher class of problems, okay? We're always going to have problems. It's part of the game. I'd like to share a little bit about me so that you understand the context for tonight and the perspective that I'm bringing to the talk. So life is a little bit like a sine wave, right? There's ups and downs, good times, bad times. There's also outward strokes and, introspection periods. And so in preparation for tonight, I took a snapshot of the last 10 years of my life as a sine wave, okay? And this is what I came up with. I came to Santa Barbara about 10 years ago. I started a company in Minnesota where I grew up called Commission Junction, and I moved it out here and served as co-founder and CEO and chairman until 2003 when we sold the company. And the company's was successful then, and it's gone on. It's still very, very successful. In fact, it's the leading organization of its type today. That experience, though, of leading a business from a napkin to approximately 12 million revenue and 40 million in gross commissions and about 120 people, certainly is like this, right, for entrepreneurs, like highs and lows. And as I was exiting that company after we sold it, I almost went and started a new business right away. But something felt really off. And what felt off was a feeling that my life was running me versus me running my life. Okay? So I realized, maybe intuitively, that all the methods I was using to get me to some level of success weren't scaling up. Right? They weren't scaling up in my family life, in my work life. It was like I was juggling 15 balls at once. So I went on a quest. And I thought it would take just a few months. But maybe that's a benefit and a curse of an all-or-nothing personality. It ended up to be about 5 years, almost full-time, looking for knowledge, looking for new tools and methods and awareness, and studied all kinds of things and became certified in numerous types of modalities. So organizational change theory, individual change theory, societal change theory, and a host of others. As I was on this quest, I started coaching and collaborating with other CEOs and entrepreneurs and having a lot of fun with coaching. And near the end of that period, I wrote a book. The book is really a change. It's a perfect book for a type A, highly driven person, goal-oriented person, looking for more awareness and fulfillment to go within. So it's a good book. At least it's endorsed by the luminaries in this space. I don't pretend to be an expert. It was fun to write. I decided I wanted to start to apply some of these methods in another fast-paced setting. So one of my coaching clients, we took from 0 to 1 million in revenue in 12 months. And after the first year, I stepped in as interim CEO and took the company from $2 to $4 million in revenue over the next 2 years and had a chance to really apply and formalize some more of these theories. And as I transitioned out of that, started to coach other entrepreneurs again. And what I'm realizing as I look at my life is that sometimes I'm driven to be as a CEO, but really I think where my genius and my gift is as a coach, is as a teacher, as a collaborator with other leaders. So I have on my website interactive courses and personal coaching, and what I'm doing today is start to see another outward movement. It's called organizational physics. Now, I've never shared this information outside of my family before. So some of my coaching clients, you'll hear some of the similar themes, but it has a new language and a new lens on it. So snapshot of me over the last 10 years is I really get what it takes to transform an organization. I've lived it, I've coached it, I've studied it. I think I feel comfortable enough to know that I know very little, but still passionate about what I do know. Right now, as you're sitting there, you're actually hurtling through space at 67,000 miles an hour. Upside down. Pretty trippy, right? Pretty amazing. So that's the speed that the Earth rotates around the sun. Let's take that in. Right now, we're cruising along at about 70,000 miles an hour. Yeah, without seatbelts. And lots of room in coach. And look at this little pale blue dot in this vast expanse of the cosmos. It's amazing. Doesn't it work well? How does it work, right? And how come we don't all hurtle off into space? So that question, how it works, is a really, really, really cool question. To get a sense of how anything works, including your family, your company, your school, here's one thing that's really helpful, is begin to look at it as a system. Okay? Planet Earth is a system. A system is a group of interconnected, interrelated, interdependent elements that work together to form a complex whole. Yes? You're a system. Okay? You have a physical body, but your physical body is comprised of other systems, your immune system, skeletal system, circulatory system. So notice the closer we want to define a system, where a system starts or ends, the harder it is to define. And what that means is that there's no closed system. Okay? Every system is in interaction with its environment, and we can take this model and go down as far as your cells, and even farther than that, and we can start to go bigger. Okay? Your mind, your physical body is a system. You have a mental system, an emotional system. You're part of a family, a community, a country, a planet, and so on and so forth to as big as we want to get. Everything's a system. Everything's an open system. And if we recognize that, then we can start to do something pretty cool. We can put a lens on that system, right? A way of looking at the system to understand what's really going on. And the lens I want to talk about tonight is the lens of physics. Okay? Physics is the study of matter and energy and the interaction between the two. But by applying the lens of physics onto your organization, we can do some pretty cool things. One, we can get down to the underlying core. You know, what's really going on down there under the hood? It allows us to perceive energy dynamics. We can see the simplicity underneath the apparent complexity, and it allows us to see cause and effect. Physics is just a lens, okay? But it's not the be-all and end-all of systems, right? So if you can't read this, here's a physicist at the board. It says, I think you should be more explicit here in step 2, and step 2 is then a miracle occurs, okay? So it's a lens, and let's treat it as a lens and see what useful information we can glean out of your system. Right now, I'd like you to identify one system that you'd like to improve in your life. Could be your family system, your personal system, your business. Everybody have one? Okay. The funny thing is, no matter how you define your system, I'm going to use those words interchangeably, okay? System and organization mean the same. However you define your system, however big or small, it suffers from one or more of these 4 problems. Okay? Every one of us. So, problem 1, getting enough resources. Money, time, energy, yes? Okay? Providing enough stability, structure, control, scale, right? So the business can scale, family can scale. Adapting to changing conditions in your environment, and unifying the system, keeping it all together. Yeah? Everybody suffer from one or more of these problems? In the right room? Okay. Everyone have all 4 of those problems? If you do, you mean you're in a high growth mode, right? Okay. So as a leader of your system, you use more than just your intellect, right? A good leader, a great leader, brings their whole being into play, yeah? We all have 5 senses. So what I want to create is a memory device, a memory aid, and talk about the 5 senses of leadership. Okay, I'm going to use them as a metaphor. We're going to go through each 5 and see what you do to be a better leader of your system. Okay? The first is your sense of smell, okay, metaphorical sense of smell. What you're doing now as a leader, first and foremost, is you're sniffing out friction. You're sniffing out energy drains that are occurring in your system. The second thing you do as a leader is you use your sense of touch to gather in the mass, and you do that so that you implement decisions quickly. The third thing you do is activate your sense of sight, and what you're looking for in something particular, it's the patterns that are underlying any chaos, okay? The fourth thing you sense is you're listening, and you're going to learn to listen to a particular kind of feedback to make good decisions. And then the 5th thing is you and everybody else in the system need to be drinking the same Kool-Aid, okay? And we do that so we create a culture of success. So these are the 5 senses of leadership, and what's really cool is that these 5 senses of leadership actually relate very, very closely to some of the most foundational laws of physics that we know of.